Hi there, welcome to Towan Talks. Today I'm doing a Yu-Gi-Oh video and it's of the deck profile I promised to do after I went to the sneak peek, and this is Geargia. It took me a while to build this as I was getting back into Yu-Gi-Oh and it was quite hard to get cards for me because I didn't have any real trades for people. But this deck's really fun. I've had loads of fun playing this deck. It's beyond, it's not exactly a tier deck. I can't remember what tier this deck comes under. I believe it's tier 2.5. If anyone knows better, then please do tell me, but as far as I can tell, this is dealing with a lot of the tier 2 decks. Almost all the tier 2 decks it can deal with. Tier 1 decks it can deal with some of them, but not very well. The tier 1.5 decks it does handle pretty well generally. It is quite a struggle with them though. It deals with all the tier 3 decks no problem, so I would say this is tier 2.5. And it's a very strong deck and it's very fun. If you're looking for a fun deck which is for a beginner, this is quite an easy deck to use as long as you pay attention to all the effects. I'll go through everything which the deck does, and yeah, I'm doing in a bit of a new format to what I did before, but this is very fun of a deck. But yeah, hopefully you enjoy. Okay, starting off I'll go with the non-Geargia cards just to make it a bit easier for us. Okay, we'll go through the main deck, then go into the extra deck. Quite standard. First card we have Dragon Ruler Redux. It's a really good card. If it's in your hand or graveyard, you can banish 2 earth monsters to special summon it, and during your opponent's end phase, if it's got a special summon, you return it to your hand. Very good, very useful. That's not the effect you have it for. You have it for the ability to discard this card and 1 earth monster to target 1 monster in your graveyard and special summon it. It also has another effect on when it's banished, you get an earth dragon to your hand, but you don't have another earth dragon, so you don't need to worry about that effect. Okay, going on to the next cards which aren't Geargia, we run Summon a Monk. 2 Summon a Monk because Geargia has lots of level 4s. Level 4 XYZ plays you want to be able to get them out as easy as possible. Summon a Monk's just a good way to get rid of it. It's just a good a good card for you to be able to cycle through the limited spells you have, but the spells aren't really that... Well, you don't really need the spells for the deck to run well, and it's just you pitch the spells to get out more monsters, just accelerate the deck. Thought it was pretty good. And with the introduction of Pendulum, and I got a bit quite excited with Pendulum, I managed to whack some really cool Pendulum cards into this deck. If you know what the Performer Power cards are, they're very fun cards which sort of mess around with what the field does. I've whacked in a few of those. For our scale 5, we've got Performer Power Cheermole. Cheermole's pretty cool. It's just because it's Pendulum 5, and all Pendulums gain 300 attack. Okay. Its other effect, once per turn you can target 1 monster in the field whose attack is currently different from its original, and apply this effect. If its attack is higher than its original, it gains 1,000. If it's lower, it loses 1,000. So it's really good in conjunction with some of my XYZ cards, and that's why I've run it. I've run 2 because you don't really need to see it that often. It's not its effect is cool. You only really want to get it to be able to go Pendulum summon if you happen to be bobbing a load of level 4s in your hand. Main Pendulum monster I've got though is another Performer Power. This is Performer Power Turntoad. It says Tiptoad, but it's actually Performer Power Turntoad. This is the what you're seeing on pictures is from Yugioh Pro. Running 3 of this, it's really good for a card. Once per turn, you can target 1 face-up monster on the field, switch its current attack and defense until the end of this turn. So it's really good for when your opponent's got a really high attack monster that doesn't have that strong a defense and you want to be able to get through it, so you swap them around and then swing at it. Its monster effect is once per turn during your battle phase, except during the damage step, you can target 1 monster you control, change its battle position, and then if you do switch its current attack and defense. What's really good about this is if you have a Turntoad on your Pendulum zone and then you summon a Turntoad, you can use Redux to swap its attack and defense, swing for a 3,000, then use the turn toad you've got out to turn it to defense position, and it's really good for those strange aggressive plays that people wouldn't be expecting. And also it's a scale 3, which means you can pendulum summon for 4, which is really good number because, like I said, you've got lots of 4s in this deck. Next up we'll go into our Gears. We start off with 1 Geargia Mark III and 3 Geargia Mark IIs. These are your Geargia engine. It's very important that you run these because Geargia have their own trap which focuses on the Geargianos. I'll go into why that card's so good later on, but starting off with these cards make for some very interesting plays. You can play the Geargia Mark II to special summon any Gear card from your hand or graveyard in face-up defense position. It's quite important because if you special summon certain cards from your deck, other effects happen. I have Geargia Mark III, which is one of those cards. When this card is special summoned by the effect of a Gear card, be it the trap card or one of your other cards, there's one other card which can special summon the Gear card. When it's special summoned from your, you can then special summon 1 Gear monster from your hand or graveyard in face-up defense position, except Geargia Mark III. The card which you special summons effect is negated, and you can only use the effect of Geargia Mark III once per turn. Also, you can't special summon monsters during this turn, except Gear monsters. So it sets you up for your big XYZ monster, which is Gear Gigan XG. It's a very big, powerful monster. Its effect is incredible, and the main play is you play a Geargia Mark II, to special summon a Mark III, which will then special summon another Mark II, which allows you to overlay into your Gigan XG, which is a very big play for the deck, and it's one of the most incredible plays you can make with this deck because of how the deck runs. You want to try and go quickly as possible, and it's literally go gear, big plays. Okay, into more of the Gear engine. There are a load of other cards which came with this, which come with the Gear archetype. One of the big key cards for the deck, which when I get to it is rather incredible, is the Geargia. Geargia, which we have here, I run it too. Its effect is when this card is special summoned, when you normal summon this card, you can add a Earth monster to your hand. Okay, and level 4 Earth machine monster goes to your hand from your deck just by normal summoning this card. That ability alone is so strong. Yeah, it does come with some limitations. You can't special summon monsters except machine type monsters, and you can't declare an attack for that turn, but as a card it's really strong. The effect alone, just you get 3 pluses. You get to add cards like Gear Accelerator to your hand to be able to go for more plays to get even more 3 pluses. Not a lot you can really say to that apart from it's really good, and it's one of the really powerful skills for the deck. Next up we have 2 Gear Attacker. Bear in mind, these are the more limited Gear cards which I'm showing now, the ones which we're dropping, which we don't really focus on using, but they have really powerful effects. Gear Attacker is effective. Once per turn you can change it to face down defense position. Yeah, that's cool. And when it's flipped face up, this is either when it's attacked and flipped face up, or when you flip it face up to activate, or when you flip summon it, you can destroy spell trap cards on the field up to the number of other Gear monsters on the field. So if you flip it face up while it's the only card there, you don't do anything. But if there's another Gear card, when you flip it up, you destroy a spell and trap card for that Gear. If there's, say, 2, you destroy 2 spell and traps. So it's really good for targeting that back row. If you're having issues with back row and your opponent's playing a really stall deck and you're really scared to be able to actually go for try and target the back row, this card's really good for trying to deal with that. Because during your turn, if you've summoned it last turn and it's in face up attack position, you can turn it face down using its effect and then change the battle position back to face up to activate the flip effect. And that means you can do some really cool plays to target the back row, destroy pendulum monsters, things like that. You can just deal with some issues which you might be having. Next up, a run 1 Gear Arsenal. This card's really strong. Its ability, it gains 200 attack for each face-up Geargia monster you control. You can tribute this card to special summon one Geargia monster from your deck, except Geargia in face-up defense position. What's really cool is this card goes really well for plays with Geargia Mark III, because if you tribute it to special summon Geargia Mark III, you can special summon another Geargia card. Yes, it's effects negated, but you get to get another special summon off, which is really cool because you can then go on with more plays. If you have an MK2 already out on the field and another MK2 was already destroyed and put into your graveyard, and you haven't seen an MK3 yet, you contribute this to special summon your MK3, which, because of its slow attack, is immune to being bottomless. Yes, you can negate its summon completely. When this card's tributed, you can then negate its effect to special summon. But if its effect isn't negated to special summon, you can then special summon your MK3 to bring back your other MK2, go into your Geargia XG. Okay, that's one of the really fun Geargia cards. They're doing more techie units. They're there for just getting stuff done, getting in there, doing some plays. They aren't your main engine. Your main engine for Geargia is to use the combination of Geargia Armor and Geargia Accelerator. Geargia Accelerator is the big card for the deck, because Geargia Accelerator has the ability to special summon itself from your hand as long as you've got a Geargia card. And having a Geargia card on the field is pretty easy. It also has the ability, when it's sent from the field to the graveyard, you can target one Geargia monster in your graveyard, except Geargia Accelerator, and add that target to your hand. What's really cool about that is you can target any of your Geargia monsters. Absolutely any of them, to add them back to your hand, which lets you go for even more plays, because then say you add to your hand Yugioh, you can then add an accelerator to your hand to special summon the accelerator. Say you add a Geargia Mark II, you can special summon your accelerator again, which will then allow you to add a different card back to your hand. Any of your cards, particularly your Geargia Mark IIs of your Yugioh, and also your Geargia Armor, or your main targets, get sent back to your hand. On the subject of Geargia Armor, running 2, it's a very good card. Once per turn you can turn this card face down, like Gear Attacker, but Gear Armor's also got the effect of, when it's flipped face up, you can add one Gear card from your deck to your hand, so it's your Searcher. You get 3 Searchers for this card, yet again, like Yugioh, but this one is repeatable, and you don't get any limit from it. Every time it's flipped face up, you can add a Gear card to your hand. Really powerful. If this card's flipped face up, you can add an accelerator to your hand. To special summon that accelerator you just added to your hand. It's a very strong combination. Mostly the accelerator is the big card which makes this deck work. And I'll go into more reasons why when I get to the extra deck, and you'll see one of the plays which you can do with this deck. With Accelerator being so strong, you need to know how to use it effectively for it to work as well as it can. Okay, onto our spell and traps. We start off with Dark Hole, Book of Moon, Soul Charge. As we spend a lot of time trying to swarm the field, if there's anything awkward on the field which we don't want to have to deal with, or we can't hit the numbers to deal with, we drop Dark Hole. If you want to try and get your flip effects off more often, you can Book of Moon during your opponent's end phase to flip a card face down again, or if there's an awkward card on the field like a BL's, something like that, you can flip it face down and then destroy it with Dark Hole. And just a nice cool little play you can do. And then you've got Soul Charge. This is a very, very potent card. Most people should know what it does. You can pay 1,000 life points to special summon a monster from your graveyard, and you can special summon as many monsters from your graveyard as you can fit on the field, and as many as you want to. And for each monster it's minus 1,000, but you can't conduct your battle phase that turn. You mostly use it when you're struggling with drawing cards, you're not getting what you need, everything that you have is getting destroyed. You Soul Charge, overlay into a load of Gear Gigants, and produce hand advantage out of nowhere. And you just give yourself cards, give yourself loads of cards, go through your deck, get all the cards you want out as possible, and you just go for plays from there. Like, this is one of the cards which, no matter what, you want to use it right. If you don't use it right, you're going to ruin yourself. But if you use it correctly, it can win you the game straight up just from using it the right way. Okay, next into a few more staple spells. Well, I say staple, this is running 3 MST, back row hate. Back row's back row. Back row can stop you from doing your special summons, so a solemn warning or a bottomless at the wrong time, a compulse, sending your cards back to your hand. It can ruin your day, and this is just one way of dealing with that. I don't run any more spells, even though you're running Summon a Monk. Summon a Monk's there because it's level 4, and you're likely to have a spell at some point in your hand at a time when you have Summon a Monk to be able to ditch it, to be able to special summon. But you don't really need to try and force the point of using Summon a Monk. It's there because you can use it. You can also swap out the Summon a Monk for an extra Gear armor and an extra Geargia arsenal. I would do that if it weren't for the fact I like having it there, and it's good for when it goes off. Next up, we go on to our traps. First up, we have Gear. This card is so strong. Special summon 2 Geargia monsters from your deck and increase their levels by 1. You can only activate it once per turn, and it's unfortunately just limited to 1 in TCG. In OCG it's fine to use more, but this card's so strong. Using this card, you can special summon any of these cards, because they are Gearinos. So any of these. So MK2 or MK3 can be special summoned with this card. What's really cool, as it's a Gear card, if this is special summoned, you can special summon another Gear card. And it also makes them level 4s, and them being level 4s allows you to combo so well for other plays for the deck, because your deck revolves mostly around level 4s. You very rarely use your level 3 plays apart from getting a Gear Gigant XG out. The level 4 plays are a lot more potent, and there's a lot more uses for your level 4s. Okay, this deck is heavily trap dependent. There's a load of traps which you need to be able to use correctly to be able to win with this deck. Okay, we have 1 bottomless, staple, bottomless, 1 compulse, staple again, 1 solemn warning, staple again. These cards are very important for the deck because they can control your opponent's field, what cards they can get out. But these are staples for Geargia to run those 4 for definite. Next up, this is something a bit more because I like the card I'm using it. Mirror Force. With the whole Cliff Forts and things like that, they really want to go all out and just attack you. This is really good against Cliff Forts because you can just wipe their field, and it's just really good against the all-out attack cards. And with Shaddoll still being strong but not being played as much as they could be, this card has become even more powerful because Cliff Forts are the big force, and this can deal with Cliff Forts. They just wipe their attacking force as long as they don't roll decree. But if they roll decree, they can't use their skill drain, so they're losing power. So this card's really, really good for that, and it's just great against Cliff Forts. Okay, next up, 2 Fiendish Chain. Fiendish Chain, lock down a unit so it can't attack as long as it's an effect monster, and it also loses its effect. This is mostly used for Light Swans and Shaddolls. On the flip summon of a Shaddoll card, you can then target the Shaddoll card with Fiendish Chain, lock it down so it can't do anything. Or if there's a annoying card in a Light Swan deck, like a JD comes out, you can then lock down a JD. It's just really useful for locking down those cards so they can't activate their effects, they can't do anything. This also means any tribute effects the cost can't be started. So yeah, it has no effect. It can't start the activation for the effect. I believe they can't. Might be wrong on that one, but I believe they can't start the activation for the effect. Next up, we have 2 Wiretap. Wiretap, when a trap is activated, negate the activation. If you do, shuffle the card into the deck. Good card. It doesn't destroy, so some of those trap cards which when they're destroyed have effects, like Shaddoll Core. When it goes to the graveyard, it has an effect. That doesn't get to activate. This card shuffles the trap back into the deck. Very useful. On a personal note, I do prefer Phoenix Wing Blast, but Wiretaps worked better for me, and Phoenix Wing Blast just doesn't fit the deck very well. And last up in the deck, running 2 Call the Haunted, just because Call the Haunted, 3 special summon, you'd go for overlay plays, so yeah, it's just useful. Call the Haunted is just a very useful card, not a lot else you can say about it. Okay, so yeah, Call the Haunted, very useful card. Alright, next up, going on to our extra deck. Like I said before, this is the boss card. Geargia Gigant XG. You only need to run 1 because if it gets banished, I've got ways to get it back. If it gets sent to the graveyard, I've got ways to put it back into my extra deck to use it later. There's no real point in running more because, yes, I can run 2. I used to run 2, but running 1 just seems to fit how I play the deck, because level 3s are hard to do. You can have 4 level 3 monsters. As such, it's a hard monster to get out, but when you do, it's really strong. Its effect during either player's battle step, while an attack involving a machine type monster you control is occurring, so at any point during a battle between 2 machine type monsters, that includes in the attack declaration, the damage step, during any parts of that battle, that you can detach an XYZ material from this monster to negate all face-up cards your opponent currently controls. Also, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects. So if you attack with Geargia XG, and they then activate a Mirror Force, on the activation of the Mirror Force, you can chain Geargia XG's effect to negate the Mirror Force. Or say you attack and they activate a Fiendish Chain, you can negate the Fiendish Chain, and then, or if they activate any card, you can just negate it. Or if you're scared of them activating a card, you can stop them from activating a card. It's just really potent. It's when every one of your machines attacks, and that's just, it lasts until the end of the damage step. So once you've done it, they can't activate anything at any point. They can't, if it's Black Wings, they can't collect from their hand. If it's a light deck, they can't use Honest. They can't do so many things which they would have otherwise been able to. This card's power is like beyond incredible. And also, when it leaves the field, this isn't when it's destroyed or anything like that, it's just when it leaves the field, you can target 1 Gear monster in your graveyard and add that target to your hand. So it gets compulsed. You then add a Gigiano Mark II back to your hand, and you can go for the special summon chain again and bring it back out. Or it gets, say it gets bottomless on its summon, you can then add a different Gear card back to your hand anyway, because it came onto the field and it's left the field. So this card alone is just incredibly powerful. All of its effects are really, really potent. Okay. Next up, running 3 Gear Gigant X. This card is your star player. With Gear Accelerator, this card does so much work for your deck. It's a overlay 2 level 4 machine type monsters, and you can attach 1 material from this monster, add 1 level 4 or lower machine type monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand. And if this card leaves the field, target 1 level 3 or lower Gear monster in your graveyard and special summon that target. Okay, its first effect. If you have just overlaid a Gear Accelerator as part of its material, you can detach that Gear Accelerator to add the Gear Accelerator back to your hand. Why is this important? If you have another Gear card, say you have the potential stuff which you can do, I'll just get these up. If you had 1 Gear armor face down and only 1 accelerator in your hand, you flip Gear armor face up, you add a second accelerator to your hand, so you have 2 accelerators. You can special summon the first accelerator, special summon the second accelerator, overlay the two accelerators into a Geargia X, you can detach one accelerator, add another accelerator to your hand, special summon into another Geargia X, which can then detach to add any other machine card to your hand. Just the plays you can make from having just a combination of these cards. Like, it's the main reason why this deck works so well and is so consistent is because of the Geargia X combined with Accelerator. You can create play after play after play using that, just in general. Right, next up I've only got IHS level 4s, random level 4s I've just thrown in, rank 4s I've just thrown in, Utopia, Diamond Direwolf, Operative. This card's actually really good. In combination with Cheermole, you can dock a monster by 1,600 if it was in defense position. So it's just crazy fun. Remember guys, this card's really useful against decks that want to go into the graveyard. Okay, if you destroy a monster, you shuffle that monster into the deck. So it's really good against Pendulum decks as well. Roach, this card, I've got a personal soft spot for Roach. When level 5 for a high monster special summon detach, negate the summon. I like it, it's done a lot of good work against synchro decks for me. Cowboy for Cowboy, Sun Arc, Shark Drake, because I do like Shark Drake, it's just in there because I like it. Everyone has those cards you like, I run that. Chronomaly, Crystal, Chrononaut, this is the Lionheart of rank 3s. Leviair Dragon, this does so much for you. Whenever a card's banished you can special summon it back pretty much. It's so good. It doesn't even have to be level 4 or lower. If it's an XYZ monster you can bring that back because it counts as level 0 when it's banished or in the graveyard. It's really good. And then Mecha Quip Pangaea, this card's really cool. Detach, switch card to defense position, yeah, it's cool. What I would like to do, I don't have the card at the moment, but I would like to swap out my Utopia for this guy here. It's actually Kaer Gorgon, the Antiluminescent Knight. He's really cool. Overlay for 2. Detach during each player's turn when another card or effect is activated that targets exactly one card on the field and no other cards. You can detach one XYZ material from this card and then target another card that is on the field that would be an appropriate target for that card effect. So if someone plays an equip spell, you can decide to equip it to the Gorgon. If someone plays an MSC, you can make them MST their own stuff. If someone plays any single card, you can change the target of that card. So I want one of those instead of my Utopia. Haven't got one yet, it's pretty cheap, I just need to get hold of one. But basically that's the deck profile. Yeah, it's Geargia. Fun deck, really fun deck. And I recommend you try this out. If you've got Yugioh Pro at home, try it out. Maybe drop me a message, say you're on, I'll have some games with you. This deck's really fun. The whole Pendulum side of the deck accelerates the deck a lot and it's really useful to have. Hopefully you enjoyed this and hopefully I've done a pretty good job of building this deck. I haven't really built a Yu-Gi-Oh deck in a long time and this is what I've gotten to with the cards which are out at the moment and I've hopefully done a pretty decent job. Okay, I'm Towan. I have talked about Yu-Gi-Oh with you this time, so hopefully I've done a decent job. Peace out.